All right. So yes, there we are. I can see everybody. This is all GLN. Yes, this is all GLN alumni. I was looking for somebody who is new to introduce themselves or to just tell us something about themselves. But I guess considering that, but karibu sana, Joseph Mungere. I don't know if you can be able to hear us. It looks like your audio is not yet active yet. Thank you. Thank you. I'm sure you're able to hear us. Yes, karibu sana. Welcome to tonight's session. This is a September monthly reflection. We have an exciting topic about entrepreneurship and leadership. So I think without wasting any further time, considering that I don't think there's anybody we need to tell us about GLN. I think we are all aware of what we do. We'll just go straight into it. And I would like us to just maybe briefly tell us how we are doing. I'll pick on a few people before we go to the talk. So, Pastor Daniel, would you tell us how you're doing and just greet us?
Thank you very much, Sister Ruth. Good evening, readers.
Good evening.
I am well, and I thank God for everything. I'm happy to see you people once again, and I'm looking forward to this this message about entrepreneurship and leadership. It is a very exciting subject, which I believe we are all ready to hear what is happening. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ruth.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Amen. Amen. Thank you, Pastor Daniel. It's good to hear from you. Always good to hear from you. I'm going to ask two more people to greet us. Eva, would you please just say hello, tell us how you're doing and your expectation for tonight's session? If you're in a place where you can be able to talk.
Praise God, everyone.
Amen.
Hoping that you're all well. I'm also doing very well. I thank God. He's been gracious. Looking forward to the talk. You know, I'm going to learn about a lot. Just looking forward to seeing the link between leadership and entrepreneurship. Every time we always learn something new. So we're just waiting to see what new thing do they have to tell us today. A learning experience for all of us.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Nice to hear from you, Eva. And finally, I'll just ask Joseph Mungere to just say hello to us and tell us how you're doing, what you're expecting in tonight's session.
Hello.
Hello.
Am I audible?
Yes, very audible. We can hear you.
Thank you. My name is Joseph Mungere, and I'm actually joining in from Gatudu North constituency, and I'm also in business, so I would like to improve my skills in matters of entrepreneurship, and therefore my expectation is that I'm going to learn something new that can also help me move forward with what I do. And therefore, my expectation is to learn more. And that is why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Joseph. It's good to hear from you. And for our speakers, you can hear, you have the right audience. I am also an entrepreneur, and I really look forward to hear more about how I can be able to apply my leadership skills. And so without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. Her name is Grace Kariuki. She is I should have put it correctly. Her name is Dr. Grace Kariuki. She is a PhD graduate, of course. That's why we call her doctor. And then she's also an ILO trainer and mentor. And she works for the Equity Group Foundation, which is a subsection or a subsidiary of Equity Group. And she's going to take us through this session about entrepreneurship and leadership. She has a lot of knowledge. She has a lot of information. And so let us just be attentive and we take our notes so that we can be able to learn more from the wealth of experience that she carries. So karibu sana, Dr. Grace. Take it up and just, the floor is all yours. We look forward to hear from you.
Thank you, Ruth, and good evening, everyone. Leaders, how are you doing?
Good
With me,
evening.
I have
We are blessed, thank you.
awesome. With me, I have my co-facilitator today, and I want to invite him to say a word and also to take the first session, and then I'll take over from there. Welcome, Reverend Kahindi.
Thank you very much, Dr. Good evening, leaders.
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
Reverend.
Reverend.
Good evening to you.
Yes, it's been long since when I heard or saw your faces, and it's good that we are meeting today. Today we are lucky to have both a doctor and a nurse, so you can be sure you will live healed. Entrepreneurship and leadership. This thing was put on space, and you all knew you're coming for entrepreneurship and leadership. So what would you like to learn, at least by the end of the session? Some of you have already stated their expectations. Some have not. Kindly get to that chat, even as I talk now, so that we can know at the end of it. Now that we have a doctor and a nurse, we need to know what is it that we are treating. So that's the expectation over there. And as I put it in perspective, at the end of this lesson, we will want to know, what is it that you have learned? Have we added value? What specific thing have you learned? So I want to go to the chat and see if there is anything that has been put in there. If there isn't, please begin putting it there. The ones who have stated their expectations, we have ever said is expecting to learn something new. We have Bwana Joseph, who said he expects to learn some more. And we had Ruth, who also said expect to learn quite a lot today. The rest have not said the expectations. Shall I give you another few seconds? You put it up there. Kindly just chat over there. By the end of this session, what's your expectation? We address the one that has been put by the three people. Okay, so I will hand you over to Daktari to take you from there. Give us, just begin elaborating. We shall be covering this one together. So you'll be pushed from the doctor to the nurse to the doctor, until we are sure we can do you and your goods. So karibu Daktari.
Thank you, Reverend Kahindi. And I want to go straight to the session's objectives. And I want to invite Ruth. Kindly read for us the session objectives for today.
Okay, so we have entrepreneurship and leadership session objectives. By the end of the session, participants will be able to A, explain characteristics of an entrepreneur, B, define entrepreneurship. C, expound on the place of leadership in entrepreneurship.
Thank you, Ruth. So today we are going to be looking at these two terms, entrepreneurship and leadership. And we are going to be looking at who is an entrepreneur or characteristics that make an entrepreneur. We are also going to define what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is different from business. When we talk about a businessman and an entrepreneur, those are two different people. So we are going to be looking at what is entrepreneurship. And we are also going to be now merging the two. We are going to be marrying the two, leadership and entrepreneurship. So we are going to be looking at the place of leadership in entrepreneurship. So I want to welcome all of us. Kindly feel free. We are here to learn from each other. I believe we are now 17. Every one of us has years of experience in whatever we do, so we can learn from one another. I want us to keep our chat very active, ask questions, any comments. Our nurse is on call, so he will be able to respond to all the questions and queries and comments. So feel at home in the place where you belong. I want to look at what is an enterprise. When you talk about an enterprise, what are we looking at? And what we basically say, it's an activity or a project that produces services or products. So an enterprise can either be giving a service or a product, or it can even do both. It can do both. It can either be offering a service as well as products. I'm sure you have gone to hospitals let me use an example of hospitals that offer the service. You see the nurse, and then you are told to pass by the pharmacy and get a product in terms of medication. So an enterprise can give both, or it can give one. For example, we have schools. For example, we have schools that do not have a bookshop. So what happens is you go there to learn and you graduate. So that is a service. But anytime you need a book, they refer you to a certain, bookshop. So it can also be referred in the layman. Most people refer to an enterprise as a business or even a company. And normally we have two kinds of enterprises. One, we have a business enterprise. And in any business, we are looking at how much profit are we making. We are also looking at how much capital has been put in for us to bring out that profit. So the mind behind a business enterprise is how much profit will I make. And so what happens is, with monitoring and evaluation that we've been, during our leadership classes, we've been talking about every now and then, evaluating yourself, how far are you and all that. In business enterprise, there is something we call monitoring and evaluation, which can be done. Some people do it daily, others do per week, others per month, others quarterly, others per year. So during that time, you're able to check, am I making a profit or not? And decisions are made at that point. And that is, just to preempt, that is one of the places where leadership comes in. If one is not making a profit in any business enterprise, they either stop going on with that business. Number two, they think of other ways, innovative ways of expanding it, diversifying it so that it can make profit. They also can think of coming up with partners, and then they start working together to make it profitable. The other enterprises that we have, we call them social enterprises, and they provide services to either a community or even individuals. And most of them are community-based. Most of them are not looking at how much profit they will get at the end of the day, but how much social impact will they have done at the end of the day. They also do monitoring and evaluation to see how many people have we been able to reach out. And this is whereby we have people taking care of, for example, children, elderly, or even some people doing things like environment and all that. Most of the funds from social enterprises come from charity or government agencies. Sometimes communities fundraise you know, or even they charge users. For example, we have things like CDF halls. Let me use an example, or even a public hall. They are not looking at making profit, but they are there for the benefit of the community. So anytime you have an event there, there's a charge. You pay 1,000 or 2,000, not necessarily to make profit, but just maybe to keep the hall clean and so on and so forth. So we have basically two types of enterprises. We have a business enterprise and social enterprises. So today we will not be looking at social enterprises. We will basically be looking at business enterprises that make profit. So I want you to give us examples, share with us examples of enterprises that you know. So Dr. On Call, you can take over.
Yes, kindly share one example that you know, give it a name. Joseph, you said you're a business person. What the name of your enterprise? Ruth, you're a businessman.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
I said I'm a businessman. I'm involved in an agrovet. I own an agrovet and I run one. So that's a business.
I've given you a chance to give us your name, but if you don't want to market it, we will bypass it. What's the name of your agrovet?
It's called the Gatei Agrovet.
Gateria in Gatundu.
Gatei Agrovet in a town called Kamwangi.
Oh, it's not in Gatundu. Okay, it's in Kamwangi. Great.
No, it's Gatundu North. Gatundu North. Yeah.
Great. Someone else? An example of an enterprise? Just put it on the chat or unmute and quickly say one that you know. Margaret, Beatrice, Josephine. I need a name of an enterprise. What type of? Yes, somebody says a shop. Somebody says a shop. I don't know, it's gone up my chat. Yes, this Annie Center. Annie Center says a shop.
Also an M-Pesa business.
So thank you so much for the suggestions. We will be looking at them and also referring to them as we continue. Kindly allow us to use them. So I want us to look at, now we have looked at the enterprises and I can see clearly we know what we are talking about. We are talking about businesses and we are saying things like agrovet, M-Pesa shop, and outside catering for Ruth. You know, that's what we are talking about. So we want to look at who is an entrepreneur and what are the characteristics. So kindly share with us an example. I want two people to unmute and share with us examples of entrepreneurs that they know, either here in Kenya or outside. Kindly share with us. You can unmute and you can let us know an entrepreneur that you know, and either here locally or even abroad. Somebody who is an entrepreneur. So share with us an example, one or two. And we have one with us, our Mr. Agrovet at Kamwangi. So that is an entrepreneur. Another person kindly share with us. Yeah, somebody wanted to talk. Kindly talk.
Maybe I can read what is in the chat.
Yes.
So we have Margaret. Margaret keeps chicken. Then we have Beatrice Koech. She's a she has a career consultancy called Bevinin Solutions. Then we have Eva Otuge talked about clearing and forwarding farm. We have Isaac Kimani. I operate an investigation firm called Pie Gates Investigation Company. Then we have Pastor Daniel Kemebia, Mfalme Energy Enterprises. So those are the ones that have been mentioned.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the examples. And clearly, we are a combination of many entrepreneurs with different experiences. So as we go on, we are going to be sharing our different enterprises. So we want to look at who is an entrepreneur. Now, an entrepreneur is an individual. Any idea starts from one person before it moves on to the next one, before it moves to a group, before it moves to a team, before it moves to a partner, before it moves even to financial providers, it starts with a person. And this person is the one with the sole responsibility of creating a new business. So they're the ones, we call them think tanks, you know? Entrepreneurs are think tanks. They are the vision carriers. Those are the people behind the many beautiful things. You see, when you're talking about a career solution, you know, a consultancy, before you talk about the 10 people employed there, before we talk about the 100 people who've been reached out, there is one individual who is behind it. So normally it is one person who creates a new business, and this person is ready to take any risk to start on a new business venture, because normally it is not normally easy. There are so many risks. It's a road that is never traveled before, but they take up the risk and say, yes, this has not been done previously. I have no reference point. Nobody has done it, and now they are selling it to me. But they say, I am willing to take the risk. So somebody who has an idea and works on it and to create either a product or a service, we call them entrepreneurs. So you in your thinking, in your creation, you have two things that you're looking at. You're either looking at creating a service or creating a product, or even both. But the person who has that idea is the one we call an entrepreneur. So normally we say, in a nutshell, it's an individual creating a new enterprise, and they are bearing the risks. And also they are ready for any rewards before or even when it is established. So that is the definition of an entrepreneur. So in a nutshell, we normally say it's an individual who creates a new business, bearing most of the risks and enjoying most of the rewards. Why? Because they're the ones who are the initiators. They started it. They can tell a story. They can say, this is where I was before. This is how I came up with this idea. So they create the business, and most of the times, they're the ones bearing all the risks. So we want to look at some of the characteristics of an entrepreneur. So we normally say an entrepreneur is made up of thick skin, because so many things happen in between a business or an idea is established. You know, even before you call that idea a business, so many things happen. So some of the characteristics that are common with entrepreneurs include, but they are not limited to, the following that we are going to be looking at today. One, they're self-motivated. They do not wait to be motivated. They do not wait to be encouraged. They are self-motivated. They are the carriers of the idea. And when they're talking about it, you can tell they're excited about the idea. You may not see much, you know, when you listen to them, you may not see the end, but they can see the end from that idea. They can tell you from the beginning to the very end. So most of the times they are motivated, and you can tell. If you are on a table somewhere, or if you meet people somewhere, you can tell the entrepreneur, the owner of that business or that enterprise, because of the way they look motivated. The other thing is they're passionate. You know, you can see the love they have for that idea or that enterprise. You can see the much time they spend. They are not your 8 to 5 person. They are so passionate, and they give their all. You know, they sacrifice a lot just to see that enterprise moving on. They are also visionary. They can tell you, after this stage, I'm going to this other one. From here, we will take this route. From here, we will go to this location. From this location, we will go to this country. So they are the ones who carry the vision. When you talk about the rest who support, because we have teams who are supporting the entrepreneurs, sometimes they may not have much, but when you talk to the entrepreneur, they can clearly tell you what the plan is for the next 2 years, for the next 1 year, for the next 6 months. You know, now that we are almost closing the year, they can tell you, I'm looking at the person who is doing chicken. In the next 2 months, I'm looking at having 1,000 chicken, because I'm looking at having a sale for Christmas. You know, they have the clear vision and the plan. Then they are very confident. If you ask them questions about their enterprise, they are so confident. The reason being, they have thought over it every now and then. They have deeply thought over it, and they can confidently tell you, I know I may not be performing right now, but I can tell you, in the next 1 year, this is where we shall be. And they're so confident about that. And they're also the ones who make a lot of decisions. Where do we move from here? Do we diversify? Do we look for partners? Do we look for funds? And even the funds, how do we use the funds? Maybe to open other branches. They're the ones who are involved in all the decisions. I'm very sure you have gone to a place. Let's use the agrovet of our brother here. You go to the agrovet and you meet the people he has employed. And when you ask them a question, maybe you can ask them, how much is the maize jam? And then they'll tell you it is 2,200. But then you tell them, what if I want to buy many? I will many every week on Friday, I'll be buying many. How much can you give me as discount? The person may tell you, let me call the owner to make that decision. So they're the ones who make a lot of decisions. The other thing about entrepreneurs, another characteristic, they are resilient. No matter what is going on, they never give up. And they keep on going. We might find like they're almost out, but tomorrow we find they have already woken up and they are going on. They have not given up. Then, sorry, I repeated, confident. Then the other thing, they're very self-disciplined. They will sacrifice a lot for their business, no matter what, you know, no matter the discouragement and all that. And they keep things like time management, the way they talk to customers, some of those self-discipline issues that have to do with the growth of enterprises, they are so much in them. So they're self-disciplined in their own way. You can tell, you know, if you go to a shop, let's say that agrovet, you can tell by the way the owner has approached you when you go to buy. So they have that self-discipline. They even, when our worker, you know, the people we have employed, if you hear them talking badly to the customers, you talk to them, you tell them, next time when you're responding to a customer, this is how you should handle them. So in their own way, they are very self-disciplined. Both time, even the way they use their finances, the way they interact with their suppliers, the way they interact with their partners, even the way they interact with the people they work with, the teams, and even the customers, they're very self-disciplined. You can tell. Then they are curious, meaning they always want to learn something more. And that is what we have heard from most of us. The reason we came today, we want to learn something more. We want to ask questions. We want to interact. We want to network. We want to learn. Yes, we know we've been in business for these years, but today I just need to be here to learn more. And that is what most of us have said. So we are always curious. And by the way, if we did a small poll here and asked a question, how many of us are employees? We might find just 1%, but 99% of us are entrepreneurs. The reason being, we are curious, especially in this VUCA environment that is volatile, uncertain. We want to know, where do we move our businesses? Where do we move our enterprises? Because none of us wants to close. And then they are risk takers. They're not afraid to try new things, you know. They want to go to that place that nobody is going because they are willing to take risks. And that is when you talk about employees or others, they are normally in a comfort zone and they don't want to try their new things, you know. Then they are honest with themselves. They always talk to themselves and tell themselves, this one, I may not be doing it right. So I need to change. But the ones who are not honest with themselves, most of the times, the employees, they feel this is it, I'm in a comfort zone. But entrepreneurs normally look at their financials, for example, at the end of the month, at the end of the quarter, and they're able to tell themselves, I'm not making profit. So because of that reason, I need to sit down, I need to slow down, I need to, you know, rethink on how I do my enterprise. So they're normally very honest with themselves. So basically, for successful entrepreneurs, these are some of the things that characterize them. They're innovative. They're always thinking outside the box, especially for them to move forward. If they started the agrovet, for example, let me use the agrovet we have here. If somebody, let's say Mr. John has an agrovet at Kamwangi, they will think I've been in this location for too long, but I can see there's no growth. So now they will think, how do I become creative? How do I become innovative? How do I think outside the box so that I realize growth? So they'll take an action. They will go and visit different agriculture offices and agriculture officers, field officers, and explain to them who they are. They'll go with business cards, say, I own an agrovet. Every time that you have a farmer's field day, kindly invite me so that I can come and I can market my products. You know, they are always innovative. They'll think, how do I reach my customers? Must they come to me where I have a shop at Kamwangi? Or can they just call me from Kamwangi? I get transport for them, and then the goods are delivered to where they are. Then the other thing, they're very knowledgeable about what they do. The reason being, they have done a lot of research. They have gone for seminars. They have interacted with the people who are in the same line. They have invited suppliers who do what they are doing, you know, who sell what they are selling, and they have a lot of knowledge. I keep on saying, I love when we meet together with Pastor Kimemia, because when he talks about energy, you just sit down and he explains it to you very well with a lot of simplicity because of the knowledge he has. So entrepreneurs know a lot about what they do, and they're open-minded in terms of they always allow others to give them even direction, suggestions, ideas. So they are not rigid and they're not closed up. And then they're ambitious. When you listen to them, you know, when you listen to them and they tell you their next plan for the next 5 years, for the next 2 years, you can see it may not make sense, but they're very ambitious and they know they can be able to make it because previously it was just an idea and have been able to do something. And then they're very flexible, and especially when dealing with customers. Customers are the ones who own our enterprises. I want us to know that our enterprises are not owned by us, but they are owned by our customers. So listening to our customers should make us very flexible. Meaning, when a customer tells you, instead of this brand of maize jam, instead of this brand, you know, why can't you give us another one? And they give you a name. Next time they are coming, you know, they should be able to meet what you had and also what they suggested. Meaning, you're there and flexible. Then they are hungry for knowledge. That one we looked at. They also have good management skills, because in any enterprise, there are so many things that we need to manage. We need to manage our customers. That is number one. We need to manage our families, because we cannot excel in our enterprises minus our families. Therefore, they make a very good backup. Number three, we need to manage the competition. The competition is there. How do we manage it? We need to manage our customers. We need to manage our staff. We need to manage our suppliers so that they supply on time, and we are not always running out of stock. So they normally have good management skills. And if sometimes you feel like there's a gap in terms of management, it is very advisable to go for sharpening of skills, of management skills. Enroll in a class like this one, what we have been going through GLN. Come and learn about leadership. Come and network with others. Come and sharpen your skills, so that by the time you're going back to your enterprise, you are now able to manage many other things that you're not able to. We have talked about passion, we have talked about street smart, meaning that you are in touch with what's going on. So I want just to look at an entrepreneur personified. When you look at an entrepreneur, they are the whole body that we have that has different organs. It makes an entrepreneur. For example, when you talk about a brain, when you talk about the brains we have, that is what helps an entrepreneur to become creative and innovative. So all entrepreneurs use their brains for creativity and innovation. Now, when you talk about eyes, they are able to spot opportunities, and they are able to spot chances, that others cannot see. For example, the location, even coming up with the idea that you have, how are you able to know it? It is because you used your eyes and you saw there was a gap, and you opened your eyes and came up with that idea. When you talk about mouth, we are saying an entrepreneur is always sharing their vision, and they'll share their vision with different people. One, the teams that will be working with them, because you must share your vision with the team for them to push it to the next level. Number two, you will have to share your vision with the partners that you'll be working with. You will have to share with the financiers, people who will finance your enterprises. You will have to tell your vision to them using your mouth. The other one, ears. Ears, we listen to our customers, and most of the times we are told we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen more, especially to our customers. Customers will come and tell us, you know what, your price is higher than so and so's price. So when you hear that, as an entrepreneur, you should be keen, not to just rub it off, but to know where are they getting that commodity for them to sell it at a lesser price than mine. So from there, you're able to investigate, you're able to do your research, and next time when the customer is coming, they find you're even lower than the competition. And then we have our stomach to take the many turbulences, the moments and seasons that are not very right with our businesses. And then we have our heart that makes us stay passionate, that when we start talking about our businesses, people will want to invest in it, people will want to listen to us, people will want to work for us because of the passion that we have. So our heart speaks a lot as entrepreneurs. Then we have our legs as entrepreneurs. They help us to move forward. No matter how tough times and seasons that may come, our legs will keep us moving forward, on and on and on. So when we talk about an entrepreneur, it is us and all the senses that we have that make us, and each sense will help us push our enterprise forward. So I'm sure up to that point, we are together.
Yes, we are. We are very much together. Oh. Very interesting. Learning a lot.
All right. So I want us now to think about entrepreneurship. after learning who an entrepreneur is, after learning the two types of enterprises that we have, we want to find out then what is this entrepreneurship. So I will want my nurse to take us through this for 2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Daktari. Thank you very much, Daktari. Poleni, I was knocked out, but I'm back, came back later. Now, which words come to your mind when you think about entrepreneurship? Now that you have seen some characteristics of an entrepreneur and like, when you hear this word entrepreneurship, what comes to mind? Just get to the chat. Get to the chat. And let's have some, just give a word, one word or two that come to your mind when you hear that word entrepreneurship. Self-employment. Joseph said when he hears entrepreneurship, to him that is self-employment. Kimani Moura says, what comes to mind is business. What comes to the mind is business. So entrepreneurship is business. Self-employment. One more. Yes, Margaret puts it succinctly that it is making money. When she hears entrepreneurship, hiyo ni pesa imeingia. And Beatrice said investment, things of investment, investment. And Josephine, says profits. So Josephine and Margaret are on the same line. Profits and money, yes, same. Then Bernard says a trader, dealer in goods and services. And Joseph again says exploration. To be an entrepreneur to him is exploring. And Daniel, Reverend, says creativity and innovativity. So all these things come to mind. So let me take you back to Daktari, and please, Daktari, pick it up from there.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I love what I have heard. So basically, we normally, when you talk about entrepreneurship, we are looking at all that you have said and much more. Yeah, we have heard about business, yes. We have heard about innovation and creativity, yes. We have heard about money, finances. Any business, any enterprise has something to do with finance. All the time, there are resources that are required. Most of the times when we are starting an enterprise, we are looking at success. None of us would want to start something that is going to fail. So most of the times we are looking at success of this idea. We are looking at new ideas, you know. We are looking at teamwork. Who will we be working with? How many people will I employ? You know, we are looking at corporate. I will start small, yes, but I want to launch and become a corporate organization. We are looking at leadership. There is one word at the far left corner, leader, you know. We are looking at leadership. We are looking at training, like the one we are having today. We are looking at workshops, you know, attending workshops, getting to know much more, learning, and also when we go back, we apply. We are looking at startups, you know, we are looking at now technology. Right now, the big thing now is technology, that you can serve your customers. They do not need to come to where you are. They don't need to know you. They just need to have your product. It will be delivered to them. They'll pay to you through technology, and business continues. We are looking at thinking, starting, you know, education, cooperation. We are looking at so many words. And yes, we are even looking at career. You know, whatever, like now I know Madame Josephine. In her line, she has a business. So in her career, she has started an enterprise. So we are looking at how do we convert our careers to enterprises, and many more. So those are some of the words. So we want to look at the definition. When we look at, when we talk about entrepreneurship, what are we talking about? We are talking about a process. It's not a one-off. It's not a magic word. It is not a button you switch on and off. No, it is a process. From the day an idea is conceived, to the day that idea hatches, to the day that idea is incubated, to the day it is started, to growth, to maturity, and so on and so forth. So it is a process. And at this time, I want to encourage us, please do not give up. Please do not feel like my idea seems to be far-fetched. It takes time. Every enterprise that we have learned about, that we have given here, it takes time. Then it is an activity. It also has a lot of activities involved. Before we set up an enterprise or a business, there are so many activities. For example, we will need to register. If it is a company, we will need to register. That is an activity. And that activity takes time. And before, if someone is not aware about the time factor, sometimes they tend to give up, and sometimes they tend not to give it the attention it deserves so that it can grow, because they are thinking, today I have an idea, I want it to hatch tomorrow, and on Wednesday I want it grown, and I want the profits on Saturday. So there are so many activities that are involved in that process. And even some of them are very risky. There are so many risks that we will have to take. For example, even for example, name search. When we talk about name search, we are told you have to give a minimum of 3 names, and then you have to pay for that. We are taking a risk. Taking a risk of even paying the 100 shillings. We are taking this. So there are so many activities involved. It is also the pursuit of creating, managing, and scaling a business by taking calculated risks and being innovative. So when we talk about entrepreneurship, it is a combination of so many things. We will have to talk about skills, we will have to talk about vision, we will have to talk about resources, and these resources, from human resources to financial resources, to, if you're talking about building or location, you're talking about a combination of all those things. So it is a process with so many activities, and it also engages a lot of it's a combination of many other things. And we have 5 stages of entrepreneurship. So we have the idea stage. This is whereby we look at ourselves and say, because of my background as a surveyor, I can start a survey firm. You just have an idea. After having that idea, let me just say that if you have that great idea of establishing an enterprise and you just leave it at that, it will never happen at all. For example, if you have a seed today, if you have a maize seed today with you, and you leave it on the table, even after we were told that there is El Nino coming, you just leave your maize seeds on the table. On a table, very well covered. You leave them on the table. If you come back next year, that year, the September, will you harvest anything? Will you have any harvest? Somebody kindly answer me.
No.
Yeah, very good, Mr. Bernard. If you have a seed, you put it on the table, and then you go to Australia, and then you come back after 1 year. Today is that year. If you come next year, that year, September, you will meet the seeds on the same table, having not moved an inch. That is the same concept. When we have ideas, business ideas, and we just leave them at that stage, nothing happens to them. But for them to change levels, we have to go to the next stage of planning. So we will have to take a lot of time. We will have to consult. We will have to engage. We will have to network. with others who've gone before. We will engage workshops. We will go for workshops. We will go to the Google. We will go to the books. We will visit offices just to find out, how does one establish an aggregate? What are the requirements? What are the certifications that I must have? How much amount of money do I need? So we have to move the ideas that we have to the planning stage for anything to happen to that seed. We normally call that idea seed. Seed. For it to move to the next level, we have to go down and do planning. After planning, if we leave it at the planning level, it will never happen. So we have to move it to the next stage of execution. This is whereby after we make our plans and we are told the requirements for opening an aggregate, you must have safety, you must have the council, you must have the receipts, from the council, you must have licenses, you must have this amount of money. After that, we have now to engage all the requirements so that we start step by step executing. If we are required to have a business name, we have to go and do a name search, get the business name after 1 month, and so we execute what has already been planned. After that, we need now to think, how do we scale up? We started with 1 bag of maize jam, and that time we were selling in kgs. How do we now move from 1 bag to 2 bags to 3 bags to a whole container, to a whole, lorry? How do we scale it up? Then the other one is the hyper growth. This is whereby we are thinking about different locations, reaching out to more than the customers we have. If we are located at Gatondo North, how do we go to the south? How do we go to Kiambu town? How do we go to Thika town? How do we reach out? And how do we go to Moranga? How do we even reach a farmer who is in a different location, even Meru? Because there's a possibility of us starting milling, milling the animal feeds. And then we have our own label, our own name. And then we can be able to now start selling this across the whole country. So that is what we call hyper growth. Now, for any enterprise to grow, any business to grow, it must use all these 5 stages. Ideas must be there. Even when you talk about diversification, we get the business ideas, and then we plan them, and then we execute. We take steps and execute, and then we start step by step scaling up. And I'm sure you can see the scaling. It is a small stage. You move on to the next one, and then you move. It is gradual. It's not 1 day off. Then I just said that we want now to look at entrepreneurship versus leadership. And I started by saying we cannot separate leadership from entrepreneurship, because all that we have learned about who an entrepreneur is, about what entrepreneurship is, it has to do everything with leadership. Somebody must be at the forefront, making decisions, coming up with the idea, scaling it up, execution. Even if they're not the ones executing, they must make sure it is done. So a business without good leadership is like trying to reach new lands on a rudderless ship. So leaders must create the vision. This enterprise, I want to see it move from this place to the other one. We must also have our purpose. Why did I establish this aggregate? What is my purpose here? What are the goals? And then everybody that we'll be working with will support us once we are able to establish the vision and clearly explain it to them so that they can buy in. And then leadership is essential for entrepreneurs as they carry the vision of the business. That one we have seen. So what is the place of leadership for successful entrepreneurship? One, an entrepreneur must be able to communicate effectively to all the people that I've been able to mention. We must be able, we are the ones leading. We are the ones taking charge. We are the ones in charge. We might have employed other people, but the buck stops with us because we are the ones who are the vision carriers, and we are looking at how much profit, you know. For example, if you today we are closing the quarter, the third quarter of the year. So when we are doing the financials on Monday, we'll be looking at how much profit we'll be able to make. And then as leaders, we will communicate effectively to the people that we work with. And we'll be able to tell them, we made this, let's say we made 10,000 profit. How do we move from here to the next one? So one of the key places of leadership in entrepreneurship is effective communication. Again, we should be able to communicate effectively to the suppliers who are supporting us. We should be able to communicate effectively to the customers that we serve so that they can be repeat customers and so that they can also bring others. Once we are not able to communicate effectively, we lose the ones we have, and also we are not able to get more from them, you know, maximally. The other place of leadership in entrepreneurship is inspiring. We are the ones to inspire others. When things are looking tough, you know, like now there's a new slogan, Mambo ni Matatu. When people are talking about those three Mambo Matatu, you are the ones to tell your teams, we cannot give up yet. Tomorrow will be greater than today. Next year, you know, next month, we will be in different locations. Don't look at us now. We will be in a different location. Our profits will be different. We will have more than the branches we have. We are the ones to inspire. And that is the role of leadership in any entrepreneur, in any entrepreneurship. Ours is to inspire and also to motivate. Sometimes even the customers that we are serving, they come to us and their hopes are done. So you'll hear them that I had 1,000 chicken, and they are already matured, but they are no customers. So when they come to you and they normally buy feeds from you, what do? You take the position of motivating them, you know, to keep on soldiering on, not to give up. If they only had one supplier, you help them think outside the box. Where were you taking? I was taking my chicken to Nairobi. Why don't you think about other people who can consume? Have you tried going to the hotels nearby? Have you tried going to other markets, you know, apart from that market that you're going? You know, ours is to motivate and to inspire as leaders. Then the other one is to delegate. Another key role, delegate. Let me tell you, in the modern world, the new people who are coming out of school, for example, they have a lot of knowledge. And also, anytime you meet with a person, please be an open mind to learn from them. And when you give them an assignment, kindly delegate them. They will even do it better than you, but it doesn't mean that they own the enterprise. Let them, you know, make them free. Let them think, you know, let them come up with ideas on how to better it, how to scale up our business and all that. Involve them. When you do that, what happens is the potential in them comes out even more and better. So you'll find even they'll be giving you ideas. When you delegate and let people work, they'll give you ideas and they'll tell you both, why don't we do this? For example, let me use the example of the agrovet. They will tell you, now that we have been going to, we have been able to be going to farmers' field days, yeah? Why don't we approach the tea, for example, the tea factories, because they deal with farmers. The people who are doing milk, the factories that are dealing with milk, they are packaging, they are buying from farmers. Why don't we go to the office, introduce ourselves, and let them also invite us during their farmers' field meeting? You know, when you delegate, that is the power you give to the people you're working with, the teams you're working with. They are able to think for you. They are able even to do things you do not even have imagined. Another place of leadership is in decision making. Sometimes everybody will be looking up to us, you know, to make even simple decisions, you know, because they believe in us a lot. But what I would encourage us is, because we may not be in all the locations at the same time. The people we have entrusted with our enterprises, let them know they can also make decisions and even refer to you, consult to you even after they have already made the decision, as long as it's for the benefit of the enterprise. Another thing, the place of leadership is being approachable and trustworthy, both for the customers, financials, suppliers, the teams that we are working with. That is another place that leadership comes in. For the people to trust us and give us business, repeat businesses. For the customers to trust us and bring us more businesses. They go and refer to us, referrals, what we call referrals. We must be approachable and trustworthy. And trust means keeping our word. If we say that we open at 8, let us open by 7:30, we clean the place, we organize ourselves, and by exactly 8, we are open. The reason being, our customers know those people open. Time management is they're very keen with time management, and we can trust them. When you send someone, they'll give them quality feeds, they'll give them good services, and all that. The other place of leadership is sometimes when we are going on with our business, we will meet so many challenges, and sometimes our customers will give up. The employees that we have, suppliers, sometimes they might come to the shop and just say there's no hope for us. But for us as leaders, we are the ones who should never take no for an answer. The reason being, if we give up, it means that our customers will be done, our employees, the teams we're working with will be done, and the suppliers, there is a big ecosystem that will shut down because of our giving up. So that is the place of leadership. Always, being resilient, no matter what, telling people tomorrow will be great. Next year will be better. The next quarter, because now we are finishing the quarter of this year, it will be awesome and better than all the quarters we have had. Then our place as leaders in our enterprises is to learn from others. Kindly know there's always a better person than you. Then number 2, none of us is a tree of knowledge. So we must be willing and we must be open-minded to learn from others, to sit, sitting down and listening. And nowadays, the beauty is you can learn from technology. You can follow someone who is in business, who is doing, a person that you admire. Let them mentor you. Approach someone, go and introduce yourself to them. Tell them, my name is so-and-so. I'm in business and I would like you to be my mentor. So that is our place as leaders. The reason being, the growth and the scaling up of this business is entirely on us. So for us to change it to the next level, we must have different ideas that we have to learn from others. Then another place of leadership is being agile. Always learning, always willing to pay the cost. Like now today, we have paid the cost of being in this session instead of, being in other places. We have said, let us sharpen our skills on entrepreneurship so that by Monday, we are different people. By tomorrow, when we open our shops and when we are talking to our customers and the people we are working with, they will see something new in us because we will have learned something from this session. Then another place we cannot ignore is being ambitious. We cannot scale down our ambition. We have to see, because we are the vision carriers, we have to see beyond what people can see. Nowadays, for example, let me give an example. There's somebody who talked about a shop, and I was telling someone this week, that in the next 2, 3, 4 years, none of us will be going to the shop. None of us here. We will not even be going to the supermarket unless maybe we are passing by and then we see a supermarket and we just pop in. But everything will be delivered at our doorstep, including matchsticks, even the smallest of all things, they'll be delivered at our doorsteps. The thing now is for us, because we need to be leaders in our enterprises, we need to be ambitious. We need to think now, how do I scale up? what are those ideas that I need now for me to diversify so that I do not remain the same person that I was 5 years ago? The other place of leadership is strategic thinking. Never settling, evolving. For us to change from one level to the other, we need to strategically think. And for strategy thinking, it will go beyond our norms, what we are normally used to. It has to go beyond that. And we will have even to invest. There's somebody who talked about investment. We will have to invest in ourselves. And I want to encourage all of us, if you have not joined our strategy class, kindly talk to the chairman and ensure you join that class. The reason being, it is different from the leadership class that we have all gone through. It helps you think strategically. It helps you think creatively and innovatively. It helps you think, where do I take my enterprise? And especially in the VUCA environment, the environment that we are talking about right now, it is very volatile, and we cannot apply the ideas that we had 5 years today. For us to move forward, for us to scale up, for us to talk about the super growth that we have looked at, we have to have strategic thoughts. Now, these strategic thoughts, it has a lot to do with who do we interact with, who do we network with, how do we sharpen our skills. It has to be different. Then the other thing, the place of leadership for successful entrepreneurship, we have to think about collaboration. Last month, we talked about social capital and networking. We will not go far alone. We have to collaborate with others. We have to network with others. We have to have, previously, we had a lot of fights. Yeah? When people talk about competition, there was a lot of fighting. People kept on fighting because people were thinking, I do not want people to know what I'm selling. But right now, it has to do a lot with collaboration, because the supplier for your competitor might even give you better terms than the supplier that you're having. So as leaders, we need to think about being in a network where we can be able to grow our enterprises. How do we cooperate even with other people who are doing the same business? Sometimes even we look at the business we are talking about, the agrovet, and we are based at Gatondo. But how about other people who are in Thika? How about other people who are in a different place? How do they do it? That collaboration is very important for us to retain our growth trajectory in our enterprises. Then the other thing is trusting our gut. Sometimes because of the experience we have in businesses, as leaders, sometimes we are able to tell things are not right. No matter how our financials look, it is time to change. It is time to change the way we are doing business. It is time to change the way we are operating, the people we are talking to, the people we work with. Sometimes it just comes naturally. For example, there are people that some suppliers you can work with, and you can tell they're not honest, for example, or there are delays every now and then. Every other time you place an order, it takes a lot of time. Then you should, as a leader, you should be able to trust your gut and say, it is time I moved on to a different supplier. And then as we move on, we're almost done with the place of leadership. And maybe I can pause at that point and invite our nurse to check on our charts. Our nurse, kindly check on our charts if there's something that needs to be addressed as we move on. So the other place of leadership is provision of direction and guidance. Most of the times, we are the ones who determine how we want people to know us out there. When we are talking about, for example, Beatrice talked about consultancy, in mentorship, in careers, how do we want people to know us out there? What is our culture? We are the ones to shape that. So provision of directions and guidance it is entirely on the leader in that enterprise. So we are the ones to make sure that we induct the teams that we are going to be working with, the employees we are going to be working with. Let us induct them in that. And even our customers, let them know that we treat you with pride. We treat you with respect. Sometimes we have gone to enterprises and we have met their vision board, have something like that, that we are prompt. We are prompt to respond to your queries. We deliver on time, something like that, so that even the people that we'll be working with, they will know that you're providing direction and you have a certain culture that you believe in. Then it is the leader who does monitoring and evaluation of their businesses. If you leave it to anybody else, they will not have time and they will not know where you're going. So it is us to do monitoring and evaluation, and it depends with our with the frequency depends with maybe the different businesses. We can do it per weekly, we can do it per month, we can do it quarterly, but my encouragement is let us not go beyond a quarter. The reason being, if we go half year, we may not remember everything that we did for the last 6 months, but within 3 months, we can be able to do a lot of lessons, draw a lot of lessons from that, so that we are able now to set targets and also goals for the next 3 months, and so on and so forth. By the way, people fear monitoring and evaluation, but let me tell you, it's the best thing that we can do to our enterprises and our businesses. The reason being, we are able to know what areas have we done well, and we're able to strengthen them and move on with them. We are also able to know which areas are we weak. That those areas that are making us lose customers, for example, areas that are making us not get a lot of profit, we are able to identify those gaps early enough so that we close on them. But the more we delay, if we stay for a whole year without monitoring our business, at the end of the day, we will be making losses and we will not be able to trace how we started making the losses. So it is very important for us as the leaders in the enterprises to take that position. Yeah, we don't need even to have gone to we don't need to have done CPAs, we don't need to have done finance, BCom and all that, but we can engage people who've done it so that they're able to give us our spreadsheets, they're able to give us our accounts, and we're able to see last month this was our profit, and this month it has gone up by 10,000. Why are we not at 20? That is a hard question that we're able to ask. Remember, we said that entrepreneurs are true to themselves. The other thing about leadership in entrepreneurship is that we accept feedback gracefully. Sometimes customers will come to us and give us very nasty, feedback. Other times suppliers, other times the people we are working with. But the beauty is when we get the feedback, we are able to improve and our performance, and we are able to move our enterprises to the next level. I don't know how many of us in our enterprises, we have a feedback box, comment, kindly give us your feedback, whereby, and you tell customers, kindly don't write your names. So anybody can drop their feedback there and they can tell us, how were you served? How many of us send messages to them? For example, now that we are going for, on 10th October, we have a holiday. We also have a holiday on 20th. I want to challenge you to do something. Kindly send an SMS to all your clients and ask them to give you feedback. Kindly let us know how our service was. But before you tell them that, the first line is, thank you so much for doing business with us or for giving us business. We appreciate you and we feel so much honored that you have chosen us to work with you. Kindly, we are looking at improving our services. Please be honest with us and give us feedback. Something like that. Many people do not ask us for feedback. So when you find one person asking you to give them feedback, to rate them, you feel that this person really, they honor you. And this person really, they have a place for you in their business. So you will keep going back to them, and you will even give them more business. So as we finish, we have a few quotes on entrepreneurship, and this one is from Peter Drucker, and he said the entrepreneur always searches for change. So they don't settle, they are not at a comfort zone. And once they search for change, they do something, they respond to it. And they also do something, they exploit it as an opportunity. So let us not settle. Yes, we have been in business for so long, you know, let us not settle on that. Let us search for opportunities and other chances. That way, we will grow from where we are to the next level. Then we have Steve Jobs, who said, I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from non-successful ones is pure perseverance. So we cannot give up as entrepreneurs, and as leaders of business, we cannot give up. We just have to go on. We have to persevere no matter what happens. Hata wakileta mambo manne matano, we are still there and still counting. So let us not give up. Let us not close shop. Let us collaborate. Let us network. Let us ask, who can mentor me? You know, let us go to them. For example, if I approached you and told you, Ruth, I want you to mentor me, I'm very sure you wouldn't, you know, tell me off. So let us look for people to mentor us in business. I know this is not our culture. We are not very much used to that, but this is the new us. The new us. The new 21st century is mentorship and more mentorship for every sphere, be it in business, career mentorship, our jobs. We have to keep getting people to mentor us, families, social life, you know, relationship. We just have to adopt to that. So that is my encouragement. Let us not give up. As I conclude, for any success to be realized, there are 6 things that must be in place. The first one, we have to have ideas. And these ideas may come from us as the leaders or as entrepreneurs, but they can also come from others. A customer might come to you and ask you, now that we come to your aggrovate, have you ever thought of having AI? You know, have you ever thought of placing someone on call, a veterinary doctor on call, so that we can be just, every time we want AI services, we just call you because of, we have seen your services are good and your products are good, but have you ever thought about that? So for us to succeed in any area, we need ideas that may either come from us or from others. We must be ready to embrace. Then planning must be in place. If these beautiful ideas are left just to be there on the table, remember the analogy I used, they will die there, they will rot there, they'll dry up, and it will end there. So for us to succeed in anything, the ideas we have, we must do planning for them. Then we must apply strategy. Strategy means from this action, as we take action, I'll take this action, this will be the first one, then I'll go to this one, I'll go to this one, and so forth and so forth. Then in the modern world, 21st century, we must be innovative. We must be creative. So we must think outside the box. We must engage others for them to give us ideas. You know, others who've gone before us, you know, have mentors who will help you become innovative. We must also do analysis every now and then. And that is what we call the international monitoring and evaluation, so that we are true to ourselves. Are we on the lane? Are we on course? Or we are off course, so that we are able to bring ourselves back to course. Then we cannot work on our own. We have to engage others, because no man is an island. And for us to succeed, we must engage teamwork. So with that, I want to come to the end of our session for today, and I want to welcome my co-facilitator to take over from there. We welcome your questions at this moment and your comments as well. Kindly, we want to hear from you. And all the questions you have, feel free to ask. Engage us, either you can switch on the mic and talk to us, or you can put on the chat. We are here standby so that we sharpen each other. Thank you so much. And I want to invite my co-facilitator. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Daktari. Let's have a hand for Daktari. Let's have a hand for Daktari. Those of you can do it digitally, well and good. If you want to do it manually, put on your camera and do it. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Bernard Mwanamwangi. Asante sana. That has been put clear. Now, the best for these sessions, as I normally say, is where the question and answer comes in, because there the doctor can get more specific. As from the presentation, noting that in the face of the current economy that we are going through, great leadership and purpose-driven leadership is a necessity. It cannot be business as usual, BAU. No, it cannot be that way. Otherwise, as an entrepreneur, you will surely sink. Because what got us here will not get us there. So we need to think outside the box. And if possible, let's do away with the box altogether. As Doctor said, we need to be more innovative. We need to plan and replan. This is the time when now you need to sit back, get out of your normal schedule, get yourself out of that entrepreneurship as the entrepreneur and be a consultant. Look at your business from outside, rethink it, re-strategize, and then you move forward. It is very critical. People like it, and it's a normal saying that economy ni mbaya, therefore things are like I leave with that one to the president and those people who are elected as leaders. But your economy will depend on you as a leader. How you deal with your enterprise is what will determine what gets into your pockets. Everybody else is crying economy mbaya. But where I'm staying now, there are a lot of constructions coming up each and every day, and they cost money. So what the difference? The difference is raise to the occasion as an entrepreneur, and look at your enterprise and get things done in a different way. I'm looking for the questions. Let's have questions. Just unmute and let's have some round of questions. Now, where there are no questions from my teaching classes, I was told it is either the teacher was so good and the pupils were so, or the students were so good, or the teacher was so bad, or the students were so bad that they have nothing to ask because they understood nothing. Thank you very much. I see here, our Reverend says, a great presentation on dynamics of engaging the success DNA into our enterprise. Thank you very much. There's another one here, a very interesting reflection of the year. Thank you. As you put those questions, I had asked a question in the beginning. So as we come to the conclusion, I will want you to respond to my first question. The first question that I asked was working with the end in mind. At the end of this session, I said, I will ask you, what have you learned? What is that one thing that you have picked today? Just put that one on the chat. What is it that you have learned today? What is that one thing that you have picked of the many things that have been said? I know you are not new in this line as leaders in entrepreneurship. So let's get that one thing. Peter said, failed merchandise are sometimes returned, but as a trader, you have no idea where to take them or whether to take them for compensation. Advise, please. Failed merchandise are sometimes returned, but as a trader, you have no idea where to take them or where to take them for Okay. Now, in the terms of merchandise, actually depends on the kind of merchandise. There are those which, when they go bad, you can take them back to to the owners or the manufacturers. There used to be some bakeries that when you have bread and it's not sold, it goes stale, you take it back. However, some of these companies have changed their policies, so they may not take them back. So you need to know the policies of the companies you are dealing with, that with the kind of products. Are they products that can be taken back when they are not well? Bigger companies will normally call back whatever batches are not proper. Now it could be a whole big lot of them, and for their policy, they allow that. So you need to consult back with the manufacturers or your distributors, so that you get to know what is the policy of that company. And naturally, many of them will try to wriggle out of it. They don't want that responsibility of taking it back. But where it is proven that this was had a defect from the beginning, then they're supposed to compensate. The other option is, if it is these expensive things, then you have the right to sue them when they provide something that is bad and they don't take it back. Okay. Thank you. Eva says the parts of the body in relation to entrepreneur. The parts of the body. Now this one will require a doctor. When you're talking about body parts, that one cannot be for the nurse. So Daktari, prepare yourself to answer Eva there. Wants to know the parts of the body. Now, is this a question or this one is what you have picked? Eva, maybe unmute and make it clear.
That is what I have picked. It was a very interesting concept in that what the eyes do, you see, the ears, you hear what is around you. The stomach is for processing. The concept was very interesting.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. Abitra said leadership and entrepreneurship go hand in hand. You can't be a successful entrepreneur if you are not a good leader. Yes. In fact, a number of entrepreneurs, when you meet them for the first time, they look kind of dull, and some of them don't look like they're learned. But if you spend time with them and see their habits, see how disciplined they are, then it strikes you. You don't have room to be noisy to be a leader. They are leaders in their own aspect, and they are better leaders at what they do. So leadership goes hand in hand with the entrepreneurship. So those decisions that you make require you to be a good decision maker. Now, thinking on continuous improvement, hyper growth. So Joseph has picked that one, thinking on continuous improvement. Bernard Mwangi says it's a breathtaking process to be a successful entrepreneur and demands resilience to stay afloat. I wholly agree with you. One day I met this gentleman, and he was asking me about my enterprise. And he began by asking me, okay, what are the challenges that you're having here? And I said, challenges are there. And he said, break them down for me. Okay, so I gave him 1, 2, 3. He said, anything more? Gave him 4, 5, 6. Said, okay, so those are the ones. I said, challenges are many. So I gave him 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And from there, he went quiet. Later on, he spoke to my friend and said, hey, that guy is sinking. In fact, is sinking. So my guy comes to tell me, I said, what did he tell you? Said, your enterprise is full of problems. So he says, he thinks you are sinking. And I told him, by the way, it might be a sinking business, but on that particular day, I had made a repayment of a loan of hundreds of thousands, and I was not in arrears. Now, for somebody who's out there and looks at the problems that entrepreneurship, in that enterprise, he'll see this guy is collapsed. But now that is resilience, that with all those challenges, you are afloat. Resilience. That leadership has to be there. Very interesting that to succeed in entrepreneurship, you have to polish leadership skills. GLN is really impacting Thanks to facilitators. Thank you very much for that, Peter. Interesting to learn about the relationship between entrepreneurship and leadership. Thanks, Margaret. Thanks, Margaret. Collaboration and networking is a great strength in business. Collaborating and networking is a great strength in business. I have something to say in this, but your network must grow. Our doctor tells us here, you need to learn from the best. If you have grown in the last 3 years, you had this network which has helped you to grow. You need to relook at it, because maybe you could have grown to the level where they are, and you are outgrowing your network so that you get the best. Because the idea that was great yesterday, today it could be miniature. So you always need to work on increasing and improving your network. Yes, Reverend Daniel said, importance of feedback from your customers and motivating those that may be feeling discouraged. Yes, that feedback, Dr. You've put it so nicely. I think I will also write it to my customers and seek feedback. And then Riv Murila says, we cannot separate leadership and entrepreneurship. Yeah, Dr. said they are co-joined. They are co-joined at the hip. So you cannot separate them. You will have both of them at any one given time. You separate them, one will give. They can't survive. Great. Isaac says the idea of trusting my gut instinct, not only my spreadsheets, knowing when to change with the changing times. I think this is what killed Uchumi Supermarket and others. True, very true, very true. Your spread at best it tells you what is now. Your gut feeling sometimes gives you what is not on paper, what is not in a statement. And if you stick to your paper, you will be blind to issues like those ones of Uchumi, the ones of Nokia, the stories are many there. So thank you very much. Having gone through these ones, I'm looking for there's maybe a hand somebody wants to unmute and give us some word. Great. Now with that, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for having kept time, given time to be with us on this. I just hope we have added value. If there are any other questions that you want to deal with, we shall take them even if it means offline, because those questions will help us to improve. Okay. Reverend has said here, Reverend Daniel Kinena said, Toyota killed the Ford through customer feedback, just through customer feedback. So it's very, very important, very important. Thank you very much. I'll close it there, give it to Daktari before she hands it over to our moderator today, Ruth. So Daktari, over to you.
Reverend Kahindi, I am excited today for your engagement, the questions, the comments, the claps. I am really excited, and also for sparing your time to come for this session. I don't take it for granted. Kindly feel free to call me, to SMS me, to WhatsApp me in case you have a question. I'll be there to mentor you. So you can also refer someone to me for mentorship. This is what I do on a daily basis. So I'm glad to GLN for the opportunity to network with you guys, to collaborate, to even learn from you. I have learned many things today, and I'm excited. I'm better than I came in. So thank you so much, and may God bring us increase for the seed that we have planted today. May it answer many years to come, in Jesus' mighty name. So I want to give it back now to Ruth. Ruth, over to you. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Grace, and thank you, Reverend Kahende. I think, Dr. Grace, we can confidently say that your objectives for this session were met, and we look forward to hearing more from you. Just before we close the session, I need to just mention that this is not the last time we are hearing from our two speakers of today, because on the 25th of November, we are going to have the last summit of this year. And we are going to have Reverend Kahende speaking to us. We'll also have Dr. Grace speaking to us. And this is me just reminding you to be available. It's going to be at the Maxland Hotel. Maybe then before I tell you about the venue, I just need to just mention that the theme is strategic leadership for generational and global impact. And if you're here and you're not a member of GLN, I'm sure you're invited by somebody who is in GLN. You're welcome. This is an open session. Any of us, as long as you care about leadership and generational impact, this is a session that is for all of us. We'll just be having that session on 25th of November. It's going to be a whole day session where we are also going to be having a graduation. So it's not just a summit, it's also a graduation. We have quite a number of people who have gone through our courses. We are going to be graduating the master classes, that is cohort 32, 33, 34, 35 and 36. And then we also have strategic leadership cohort 1. And we also have another group of leaders called the trainers of leaders. They're also going to be graduating. That is cohort 1. So you're welcome, whether you're graduating, whether you're joining us for the first time. It's a session that is welcome to anybody. And 25th November, again, I will repeat, it's going to, we are just going to pay 3,000 shillings. And this includes the facilitation fee, it includes the materials, anything that the conference materials, the facilitation charges, and the conference charges. So 3,000 for also the meals for the day. It's going to be one investment that is worthwhile. If you're graduating, remember that you have to pay an extra 1,000 because we are going to have a graduation gown. So just please put that in your calendars, 25th November, whether you're graduating or not. It's a session, a summit that we want to all participate in. It's the last one for the year. So thank you very much, everybody, and thank you for coming. Thank you for inviting other people. We shall engage. I'll read a comment from Dr. Josephine. She says it was a great lesson. Thank you, Dr. Grace and Rev, for that great time. I agree with you. So God bless you so much. We'll keep engaging, and yes, we meet for the people who are in the GLN. We definitely have a session, one planning session before 25th of November. We are going to be meeting to do we're just going to be having a session where we are going to be planning. So we'll communicate that about the planning session in our wall. But so far, so good. We thank God. And I just want to wish you a good night and thank you for your patience. And God bless you. You are free to leave at leisure.